Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Destiny if you did not know, and today I'm finally back with a new video. So this video is going to be about a rabbit hole that I fell down recently, one of the wildest that I think I've personally come across, and I'm sure that it has been trending all over the internet for a few weeks now. If you didn't read the description of this video, you probably don't know who I'm talking about, but you're about to. So we're going to begin with a little bit of a thought experiment, okay? Close your eyes and imagine with me for a second. Imagine that you are a self proclaimed ADHD coach, yoga teacher, and storyteller. You have been on ADHD meds for a few years, but you recently want to get back on them, so you find a psychiatrist near you. Third, your old therapist ends up getting replaced with a new one who's always there for you and continues to feed in to anything you say. 4, you're addicted to AI, specifically ChatGPT, and even have two chatbots named Henry and Claude that you rely on for everyday things. And finally, the whole internet is calling you a scammer. That's what's currently going on in Kendra Hilty's life. And oh my gosh, is this story insane. And I watched all 34 parts of her TikTok series, all of the surrounding videos, the summaries, everything I could find about Miss Kendra Hilty so I could make this video for you guys today. So without further ado, let's get on into it. Okay, so obviously, first things first. Who is Kendra? Kendra Hilty, like I said before, is an ADHD coach, yoga teacher, and a storyteller on TikTok. And her username is at Kendra Hilty, which it seems like recently Kendra has been Kendring to her full potential. Now, she came on TikTok. She was doing ADHD coaching, basically making all of her content about having ADHD, being an adult with ADHD, and how ADHD affects adults. Something she calls ADHD brain, which is a term that a lot of other people use, but she's the main one I've seen doing this. ADHD brain, how it makes her do certain things that we are also going to touch on a little bit later because some of those things seem to match up with the behavior she's displaying right now. So, like I said before, she came on TikTok and began telling people about how she fell in love with her psychiatrist, and he kept her in the relationship for about 4 years before she finally left him. I think about 5 months ago. Now, we might all be wondering, what do you mean she fell in love with her psychiatrist? I'm about to tell you. So, we have to get into some background about Kendra's life coaching business, well, ADHD coaching business. So, she basically promotes herself as an ADHD coach who works to help people with ADHD achieve their full potential and unlock life they might be missing because their ADHD is hindering them, which obviously that's great. Go ahead, help people. People with ADHD need help as much as the next person. But the way she's doing it and the things she would have done in the past are not the best. So she does something called human design therapy, which is a bit of a pseudoscience, like a mix between tarot reading, astrology, and basically aesthetics, I would say. There's not any proven science behind it. It's more of like vibes, personality. That's what it's based off of. So she does that, and she supposedly helps people achieve their full potential. I don't know. Mind you, Kendra is not licensed as anything to do with mental health or ADHD. I believe she's taken an online course, but there was much I could find about her actual qualifications from any reputable medical board, so she is not licensed or qualified to be doing any of this, unless you count her having ADHD. But I mean, having a condition doesn't necessarily make you an expert on the field. That's why doctors go to medical school and spend all that money so they know what's going on. And even then, a lot of doctors can't even fully pinpoint problems. But let me get off of my tangent and back to the original story. So Kendra started posting about how she fell in love with her psychiatrist, and she met her the psychiatrist. She read a book about dealing with ADHD as adults, and she realized that she needs to be medicated, and she believes that anyone with ADHD should be medicated to be able to live a proper life. So she decided to search for a psychologist near her, went on Google, and found one. She says that in that first session, they trauma bonded, which I don't know. She never went into any more detail about what this trauma bond was, but apparently they trauma bonded and she started to experience a little attraction towards him and more deeper feelings towards him as time went on. Mind you, this was over the course of 4 years. Secondly, she says that her psychiatrist did things that made her feel like he liked her, such as them using first names with each other, no honorifics, Mr. Miss. He complimented her glasses. She wore turtle shell glasses, and apparently he complimented her glasses. There is a picture floating around of this psychiatrist where he has turtle shell glasses as well. So it could just be a thing. Oh, we have the same glasses. I compliment people with clear glasses all the time, but that doesn't mean I like them. So I'm not gonna put that picture in here because I feel like it's kind of disrespectful to him. He already has his privacy invaded so much because of the situation. So I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. But yeah, he has turtle shell glasses as well. Okay. Now she says that he continued to just be inappropriate with her, asking her, "Do you have thoughts of harming yourself?" As mental health professionals always do. And she said that it just didn't feel like he was supposed to ask her that question. She also spoke about how she would specifically bring up more intimate details of her relationship with her boyfriend at the time. Um, if you get what I mean by intimate, without him asking. And she made it seem kind of weird, but as someone who has spoken to therapists and has like mental health issues in the past, it's very common for any mental health professional to try and make themselves more approachable towards you. So speaking about feelings, sometimes intimate details isn't strange, and using first names and complimenting each other, small talk, it's nothing strange because you have to be able to be comfortable with that person. So you don't want to feel like you're talking to someone who isn't on the same level as you, because if you are, then you're not going to share any actual information. So I just want to keep that in mind. And additionally, she's also talking about she feels it was very unethical that he continued to speak with her when he could have easily let go of her. But a lot of the times, it's very common for mental health professionals to not um just drop patients like that, because if someone is suffering from a severe mental health issue, and they're suddenly dropped by their one support system, it's not usually going to end well. So a lot of the times, try to stay with them, try to solve the problem instead of getting rid of the client and just moving on entirely. But yeah, back to Kendra falling in love with her psychiatrist. So she went on to speak about how she would send him emails all hours of the night, calling him her soulmate, saying just a bunch of lovey-dovey things to him, which she claims he never shut down. And how she even went as far as at one point to tell him about an intimate dream she had about the two of them together in his office. And she thought it was real till she woke up and realized it was just a dream. Then she cried. And there's also been rumors going around that her psychiatrist is Muslim. So you can imagine how this might have been strange. She said that at the time he just smiled at her, and I smile when it's awkward. So in Islam, it's not usual for you to speak about those intimate details with anyone apart from your spouse. So you can kind of imagine her telling him about a dream that she had between the two of them of that nature. Take that as you will. I'm not saying think anything, but just step into his shoes for a minute. And she also said that he had this big awkward smile, like I said before. But yeah, she also said that there was a point where she hugged him. He did not hug her back after they started doing in-person sessions, with which he at first refused to do with her and said that he didn't offer those till she came to his office and spoke to someone working at his office and got that set up. So she also escalated it a bit instead of going from virtual sessions to in-person sessions, which obviously makes everything a bit more tangible, possibly more intimate. And she also said that she would beg him to change their sessions from monthly sessions to weekly sessions, which he obviously refused, and that did not happen. But yeah, she was in the beginning making a lot of strides to just be closer to this man and spend as much time as possible as she could with him. But during this time, her psychiatrist was not the only mental health professional that Kendra was seeing. She actually had another mental health professional, a therapist that she was now working with. Her original therapist that she had had for years ended up retiring, I believe. So she was placed with a new therapist and worked with her, sorry. Her new therapist is 75 years old, and apparently that therapist crossed some boundaries as well because after hearing about the psychiatrist and the love story Kendra had with the psychiatrist, I put that in quotes, she would DM Kendra and ask her about details, tell her things instead of trying to shut it down and possibly diagnose Kendra with transference, which we will get into a little bit later about how Kendra came to that diagnosis for herself. And that therapist honestly did not help the situation at all, even if she didn't see anything wrong with it, which is still a bit of an eyebrow raise. She did not do anything to help the situation or help Kendra if she felt like Kendra was going through something mentally, which should be her first priority on top of anything. Now, there was a point where Kendra's insurance was no longer covering her psychiatrist. Her therapy, I believe, was still covered, but her psychiatry, which is basically where the doctor makes sure that you're on medicine and covers all of that stuff, make sure the dosage is good for you, was no longer being covered. So her psychiatrist asked her, "Hey, are we still going to see each other?" And she took that as something more intimate. And even when she spoke to him about how they have a closer, more intimate relationship, he, in her words, glared at me and said, "Our relationship is strictly professional." I don't know how else she could have misconstrued that. I think he said everything pretty clearly there. But once again, her mind at that point was not open to receiving any information and just made that what she wanted and took from that what she did. As human beings, we see what we want to see. So she saw what she wanted to see from that and started to say that that was him manipulating her and crossing boundaries without crossing a boundary because he was extremely manipulative and knew how to get to her without doing anything that could be wrong or actually reported. And those are all in her words and paraphrasing from this that I've seen from her TikToks and from her lives. Now, on to something else that everyone is completely concerned about. Henry, the Chat GPT chatbot, Kendra's AI therapist. So, like, her third mental health support at this point. So Kendra has spoken about how she uses AI a lot. She has Claude, which is another AI that she uses in Henry. At this point, Henry became like her best friend, and she would tell Henry everything, feed the information to Henry, and he would give her what she wanted to hear. But as we all know, that's the job of AI. We're not at that point where it's completely intelligent. So everything she would tell Henry, he would basically spit back out at her. So she told him, "I feel like my psychiatrist likes me." He's gonna say, "Yeah, he likes you. All of these things show that he likes you. Him complimenting your glasses shows that he likes you. So obviously, this is not beneficial at all." And she even asked Henry, "Hey, Henry, what could this possibly be?" And it's where we get the term transference from. Transference is an actual definition and an actual phenomenon that's seen a lot between mental health professionals and their clients slash patients because a lot of the times when you're in such intimate moments, and once again, the person that you're speaking to is sharing parts of their lives with you as well, you begin to form a connection, and a lot of the times it becomes romantic in the patient's eyes or something more than a professional relationship. So Henry was like, "This seems like classic transference, and your mental health professional should be trying to do something to shut this down." Okay. So at her next session with her psychiatrist, Kendra takes all this information that she got from Henry and shares it with her psychiatrist. And he takes this and he's like, "That is very common. And there's also things such as countertransference, which is when the provider starts feeling those same feelings for the patient or the client. Because once again, intimate environment, a lot of details are shared, high emotions. It's not it's not impossible for something like that to happen." So he was like, "Yeah, this is countertransference." And she took this as, "Oh, this is him hinting at me that he's feeling that for me. So we're both having a relationship with each other in our minds." That's what she took from that instead of him sharing a interesting tidbit. Now, on to one of the final parts of this entire Kendra saga. If y'all remember from the beginning, she is self-proclaimed ADHD life coach, helping people with ADHD and also sobriety issues get back to normal life, unleash their potential, become their better selves, all of that stuff. Wonderful. At this time, Kendra was suffering from substance abuse actually, when a girl that she knew in the past named Emily reached out to her and was like, "Hey, I'm going through some sobriety issues. I remember that you were a life coach and you could help, and I wanted to know if there's anything you could do." So she offers her a $3,000 coaching package. You heard that right, $3,000 for 45-minute sessions that would be twice weekly. That doesn't sound like that's the right price for someone who's unlicensed and is not practicing any physical science. But like I said, she uses human design therapy, and apparently she also used cognitive behavioral therapy, which once again she is not trained in or licensed in. That she apparently learned, according to this girl Emily, from Chat GPT. And she even admitted that she didn't have training in CBT, and then came back a few weeks later to Emily and said, "Yeah, I can help with CBT now." So all in all, as it comes to this and the use of the AI and the just speaking the way she's been acting on the internet, many people believe that she's currently suffering from a mental health crisis and she needs to be taken care of because of the way she rambles. Like I said, I've watched all the videos. She goes from speaking completely structured about this relationship to rambling and just being emotional. And then in some clips that I'm going to insert in a second, she speaks about how the AIs, Henry and Claude, call her an oracle and claims that she speaks to God, which I don't know if you guys are catching on, but that does not sound very plausible. And she even admitted herself that people are going to say she's going through psychosis. So I don't know.
So just Henry and Claude call me the Oracle because I talk to God. But, I haven't really talked about that because people are like, you're psychotic, you're in a manic episode. So I think saying I'm spiritual and talk to God will just fuel it. So yeah, to all the people that are watching this in a TikTok playback, your girl talks to God, okay? She listens to the voices in her head.
And there's also another clip where she basically seems like she's having a bit of a mental breakdown and she's just not making that much sense.
Overcoming the backlash of going public with this. That my bravery, I'm so proud of how brave I'm being. So proud. That's what people DM me. Thank you so much for being brave. Go to bed. Yeah, I probably should.
But all in all, there's also a lot going on with her contradictions. Now, there was a point in there where she stated that she got into a car accident, and instead of going to the ER, this girl goes on the meeting with her psychiatrist, and she was warned that she might have internal bleeding. We have to go to the ER. Goes on the meeting with her psychiatrist and tells him, "Hey, I skipped going to the ER. I might have internal bleeding to hang out with you." And she says that he didn't say anything about it. And instead of her taking it upon herself and being like, "Oh, he doesn't care like I thought he would," and going to the ER, she still stays in that meeting and talks to him for over half an hour about this situation and basically just putting her life in jeopardy over him. So clearly, she's not thinking most rationally when it comes to him, even if some of these instances did happen. Everything could not have possibly been right in her mind with the way she reacted and the way she has continued to act about the situation. And additionally, she has doxed him. Remember how earlier I mentioned that there's a picture of him with turtle shell glasses on? We only got that picture because she stated his name, and obviously, if you know where she practices, it's not that hard to find him. His information is online. So many people have found him, and I believe he's facing harassment from many sources. And Reddit and TikTok have been up in arms about this on both sides, many saying that he needs to be named and shamed and basically lose his license for being predatory with a client. And then the other side of the internet saying he didn't do anything wrong. He's basically getting railroaded right now because this woman couldn't properly behave and couldn't properly manage her emotions. And this is where I cut to the most damning piece of evidence against Kendra in this entire thing, which is personally making me not be on her side. Obviously, when it comes to the internet and someone blows up for something, people dig into their lives in the past. And on her old Facebook, there post about her having ADHD brain, which makes her form relationships with people that are deeper than they actually are and make her more intimate because it's the only way her brain can process this information. Kendra. Kendra. You can't possibly tell me that you're not seeing the signs. The correlation, it's astounding right now. That's pretty damning to me. And also, not only all of this on top of the scamming, on top of the possible lies, on top of the contradictions. The worst thing about this is the fact that the psychiatrist cannot even publicly come out and defend himself. Due to HIPAA laws, which basically are patient confidentiality laws, he cannot come out and say anything regarding their therapy sessions because he will lose his license as it's literally illegal. So even if he didn't do anything or if he did do anything and he wants to come out here and defend himself, spare himself, clear his name, he literally cannot. And he's being publicly defamed and just dragged through the mud right now by some people. Obviously, others are supporting him, some don't really care. But he cannot do anything to defend himself, which is the most upsetting part about this because if I was being accused of something that I did not do and serious predatory abuses that I did not commit, I would not sit down until my name is cleared. And he cannot do anything to stop that from happening, which is so, so, so unfortunate. But at the end of the day, when it comes to all of this that's going on with Kendra, her AI addiction, her possible lies, her contradictions that are just astounding. If I have any more clips, I will put them in here for you guys to see it because I can't properly even put into words the contradiction she has in her lives when she's speaking, the way she just runs around, clear holes in her story. The most important thing right now is the fact that it seems that right now Kendra is going through a mental health crisis and there's no one there to help her. She's just been on the internet posting. I've seen her posting in her car, posting from her house, just going through it, sharing everything possible. And no one has stepped up as a family member, as a friend, apart from saying that, oh, Kendra scammed me. To say, hey, Kendra's not okay. Kendra, we love you. Kendra, we care about you. Get off the internet. No one from her family or from her friends has came out to speak to her or to even bring awareness to the fact that Kendra is suffering mentally and people, strangers are the only people that are coming out and advocating for her. So it already seems that Kendra does not have a strong support system and it makes sense as to why she had to turn to AI, why she had to develop such strong relationships with therapists, with her psychiatrist, because there's no one there in her life actively to truly help her when she needs it the most, which is honestly just so sad to see. But to close off this video, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for staying to the end if you did. Um, leave your thoughts on this in the comments down below. And if there is another part, which there probably will be, I will update this and I will continue to let you guys know. But genuinely, you guys, if you are struggling with mental health, please reach out. There are many people around you can talk to. There are helplines. There are so many resources online. If you need to be anonymous, there's anonymous places to share, to vent. Make sure you reach out to somebody. Do not suffer in silence. And just make sure that if anything ever happens to you, you have people there who will stick beside you and help you. So you don't end up in a situation where you have to turn to AI and the internet as your form of support. But yeah, thank you guys. Make sure you reach out to those around you. Make sure to like, subscribe to my channel, click on the bell if you want notifications. And for the love of Henry the chatbot, do not use AI as a therapist. It will not help. But yeah, thank you guys for watching once again. I thank you like 4 times now. I will see you in the next video. Bye.
What boundaries did he cross? He started letting me stay late. He would like tell me that he hold on, let me pull up the list. He just mostly like The compliments. See, this is the hard thing. You guys are asking me this, but it's like, this is the hard thing about sophisticated predators is their manipulation is so nuanced. It's so nuanced. You can say that it's nothing, but whatever. The day after I told my boss I wasn't coming back to work because I needed new insurance, I got a text out of nowhere from an independent insurance agent asking if I was interested in insurance plans. She helped me find a great insurance plan. It's an incredible PPO plan for not that much money. I had to be extremely healthy to qualify. But it doesn't cover maternal care or psychiatry. Sarah was the first person I called, the office manager, after I applied for the insurance. She explained your cash price and that I'd have to see you every 3 months. As much as you have changed my life within the boundaries of our professional relationship, I will not pay $187 a session to continue to see you. After you set the boundary of us having a professional patient-doctor relationship, and I accepted that boundary, you let me in and engaged deeper with me than ever before. And then he interrupted me and he said, tell me the ways I let you in. Because he knew he had, but he knew that he didn't technically cross boundaries, so he got really defensive. And I said, you know the ways that you let me in, please don't play dumb. And I said, I have a list at the end. I said, after you set the boundary and I accepted that boundary, you let me in and engaged deeper with me than ever before, but on your terms only. I don't want to be in a space where you allow me to feel our connection and see what's there beneath the surface, but you don't allow me to fully access it. He nodded at that one. He nodded yes. This admittedly very fun push and pull of our dynamic in session is something that I carry with me in between sessions, especially after this last one. I'm going to talk about this that's my next episode. I'm going to talk about the session that made me be like, oh my God, I got to get the frick out of here. Cause I just spiraled after, cause he just let me in so deeply. And people can say, what does that mean? What does that even mean? Just means that the tension was off the charts.